What's going on, family? It's your boy ASAP the Thriller here, back at it again with another video. Now I wanted to kind of tell a little bit of story about myself, and I'm gonna open up a little bit. I'm gonna talk about my financial situation, right? So my wife and I, we've been married for about 5 years, and when we first got married, what we should have done is we should have bought a house, right? We live out here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the Dallas area, like everywhere around the Dallas, anywhere surrounding Dallas. The real estate prices have just been going up and up and up and up and up, and they hadn't been slowing down, right? So when we first got married, that's around the time when I had first started my career. My wife was actually a teacher at the time, and the very first year that we actually got married, we applied for a home loan, and we ended up qualifying for, I think it was like $225,000, right? And this was like 5 years ago. This was in 2015, and we were looking for houses. We were searching for houses. My wife is real picky. I'm not real picky. I just wanted something with a big backyard and something that in a place where I could do work, like a little office space. That's literally all I cared about. My wife cared about the interior. She cared more about the house, right? The two homes that we actually ended up putting in for at that time, we ended up going in. We put in offers that was over what asking price was. I believe the last one that we looked at was like $179,000 asking price. I think we put in like an even $200,000 offer. We put in an offer for $200,000, and somehow we still ended up getting outbid for the house, right? We didn't get a house. So fast forward another year, we ended up renting. We ended up renting an apartment because the houses that we were looking for, we just ended up getting outbid on the houses, and we didn't want to just settle for anything, right? The following year, same situation. We applied for some home loans, but you know, I had that was my second year working with the company that I was working with at the time. My income went up a little bit, so we ended up qualifying for, I believe, like $275, and the year before that, like I said, it was only $225. So our options were open. We had a little bit more of a budget to go off of, but again, same thing. We were looking for these houses, and we just couldn't find what we were looking for. New builds, there were new builds going up all over the place, but a lot of the new builds that's being built right now, in my opinion, they don't have a lot of character. So I like a lot of the older homes, and my wife, she feels the same way. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are that way, but that's just been our experience. So we weren't able to find a house again, right? Now, mind you, a lot of the same houses that were for sale a year ago, some of them were on sale again, right? Some of the ones that we could have afforded a year ago were like at the top of the budget this following year in a lot of the same areas, right? So it seemed like as my income was going up, right, every single year my income would go up, and every single year that we would apply for a home loan, the loan amount that we were approved for also went up. But the housing prices seem to go up just as quickly as my income, just as quickly as our budget would increase, right? So fast forward 5 years from now, right? Right now, because of the housing market and the way and just the craziness of it, and me understanding the game that a lot of people are playing out here right now, other than just buying a house. Like me, I've never felt, even though we've always attempted to buy a house every single year, I've never really felt secure in the idea of just buying a house. And the reason is because the first 2 years I was an employee, I worked for a company, right? That year 3, I ended up starting my own company in the same exact industry, right? My income went up a lot. you know, but I'm self-employed. I don't have any employees or anything like that, which I do plan to do in the future, but that's a whole nother story. But so my income went up and everything like that, and again, it just seems like we're still being priced out the market. So so fast forward 5 years later, we're still in the same situation. Right now, we've been approved for like $500,000 for a house, right? There's no way we're gonna spend $500,000 on a house, but as a black man here in the United States of America, who is successful, right? A lot of times, and I know I'm not the only person who feels this way, but a lot of times, like our standards sometimes have to be a little bit different, right? So this is the criteria that we are looking for. This is the criteria that whatever home that we find would have to meet, right? I'm holding up 4, but I'm not even sure if it's 4 4 of them. But let me tell you, I'm just gonna lay it out. So number 1, I do not want to be in an all-white neighborhood. I don't even want to be in a majority white neighborhood, you know, and that's just my personal preference, right? I don't want to be in the hood. And unfortunately, a lot of times, if we want to be in majority black neighborhoods here in the United States of America, that would mean the hood. Now, I do understand, and I know that the crabs in the barrel mentality is real and it's true. I don't want to be the only successful person in the neighborhood. I don't want to have to send my kids to school in a school where they don't have the resources, where the kids are just where they don't just have the same opportunity that you will find in a more affluent neighborhood. Let's just put it like that, right? So I don't want to move to the hood. And then 2, I want a decent sized yard. You know what I mean? Cause my kids are small. My kids are 5 and under, right? Ages 5 and under. The backyard means everything to me, and for my kids. You know, I want to find a house that that we can kind of grow up in, and if we want to sell it in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, we could do that. But we'll also be comfortable with just being there. You know what I'm saying? So the yard is super important to me. So I want to find a decent sized yard. And then the other thing is the price, right? The price has to be reasonable. Like I said, I'm self-employed. The economy is crazy right now. As everybody knows, right? Right now we're dealing with the pandemic. So with me being self-employed, especially in the construction industry, in the engineering industry, I can see how my business could be kind of volatile right now. But luckily, I've always been a saver. So even if we had a couple of bad years, me and my family would still be okay. But at the same time, I want to find something that's reasonably priced so I could still be at liberty to make all the investments that I like to make. Because my family and I, like I said, we're a self-employed family. We don't have 401ks, right? We invest. My wife and I, we invest in cryptocurrencies. We have Acorns accounts. We do Robinhood, TD Ameritrade. We invest in ETFs, mutual funds. Like, we do a little bit of everything, right? And real estate is the other thing that we're trying to get into, but it just seems like we're always getting priced out. So before we actually decided to purchase a home right now, me and my wife, we went out and we were pursuing land, right? Instead of building a home, what we decided we wanted to do was get a lot that was big enough for us to build multiple units on that lot. And in that way, the income that will be produced out of the other units would ultimately pay our living expense, right? And we would also be able to produce an additional stream of revenue, an additional stream of income, right? That was our goal, and that's still our goal. We're still going to do that. But with the pandemic, financing has just been increasingly more difficult, right? We've started on this project. We've purchased our plans. We've been moving forward. We've been making a lot of progress, but we just keep running into brick walls when it comes to the financing. My credit score is over 800. We have more than enough cash for reasonable down payment on the project that we were pursuing. But financing has just been a hiccup after hiccup after hiccup. If it wasn't them, then it was the city not getting back in time with us, coordinating with the seller. Like, it's been a real hard time with the pandemic. So what we decided to do is we decided to pivot. Let's buy a house first, and from there, we could also pursue our plans, right? Now, let me say this again. Like I said, let me reiterate, my wife and I, we've always been seeking to buy a house. It just never really seemed to work out. So what we decided to do was we was like, hey, we're gonna build our own. Let's build our own. But we didn't want to just build a house and just carry debt. Like I said, my wife and I were investors. We wanted to build something that we could produce an income off of, something really nice, right? Something really nice that we could also be comfortable living at. We'll be comfortable living there for a few years, but we can also produce an income off of it. That was our goal, and that's still our goal. It'll just have to be pushed back and pivoted, right? We'll just have to pivot a little bit. So now with us buying a house, we're still going to continue with the plan on developing this lot, but instead of moving in and also becoming a resident of whatever it is that we build, we'll just build it up, have it looking real nice, maintained, and then we'll just rent all of the units out. So that's the goal. And that's pretty much what we're doing. Now that's just a little bit about me and what we've been doing. It's been a struggle, and I know a lot of other people has also been struggling around this area, around the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, as far as like purchasing homes. A lot of us millennials are getting priced out, but at the same time, our problem is not that we've been getting priced out per se, because we have been in some instances, and I wouldn't say it's not because we couldn't afford it. It's just that if they approve me for $500, I don't want to go buy a $500,000 house. I don't even want to go buy a $400,000 house. My thing is, if my budget is here, I want to live well below my means, so that way I would always have extra income in order to invest, in order for us to be able to do the things that we like to do, so that we can travel back and forth to Africa. I don't want my home to be a burden, if that makes sense. So again, I'm just chopping it up with y'all. This is a different type of a video. I'm not even sure if you'll be into it, but if you are here in the Dallas Metroplex area and you can understand what I'm talking about and you feel me, just comment below. And if you experience the same thing wherever you are in the world, just comment below and let me know what your experience is. Like, it's crazy out here, but ownership is super important, and I'm sure I don't even have to get into why. I'm pretty sure everybody here watching this video is smart enough to understand. Yeah, ownership is everything. Let's own, let's build, and let's create wealth. Let's create opportunities. Wealth is what we lack in the Black community. So let's change that. Let's change that narrative. Let's start owning, and let's start building, and let's start buying, and let's start supporting. That's all I got to say. Holla at your boy.